Okay, let's start with the um, lesson 3. Okay, importance of study of consumer behaviors and segmentation. Right. So it's a study about consumer behavior. So consumer buyer behavior, the buying behavior of final consumers, individuals and household who buy goods and services for personal consumptions. So how they react, okay, how they respond, okay, by through the response from the behavior of consumer. So if you need to observe the consumer behavior, so consumer market, all of the personal consumption of final consumers. So we talk about the market of for the consumer. It's called consumer markets. All right. Then characteristics of affecting the consumer behavior. Okay. So what is the factors that influencing the consumer behavior? There will be cultural, social, and personal characteristic. Okay. Personal factors and also psychological. Okay, so all these are influencing factors. Okay, so let's go deeper by each factors, right? So first one is a culture. Okay, first characteristic affecting the consumer behavior is culture. So this factor is a culture is something like your values, perceptions, wants, and behavior from family or other important institutions. Okay, so the culture. Okay, so we have a different um, race. Okay, races in our country. So every races have their culture. So they might perceive things differently. They might perceive the product differently. Okay, so just for example, some of the like for example Indian, they don't like black color. They say black color is a bad luck. Some of Indian told me that. Okay, then the red color for Chinese is a good color. It's a color that ong, something like that. So this is kind of culture, already follow us as we are been upbringing from since young. Okay, so all this culture actually affect our decision making in purchase the products. Okay, or purchase certain goods or purchase property. Okay, so characteristic that also another factors is subculture. Okay, beside culture is subculture. Subculture are the groups of people who within a culture with shared value systems based on the common life experience and situations. Okay, so subculture. So for example, in even in Chinese, okay, they have different kind of category groups. Okay, they have Hakka, they have Hokkien, they have Cantonese. So this is kind of subculture lah. So when you talk about Chinese, then they have different uh, the so-called dialects. Okay, the language and their perception might be different. Okay, so the food for the Hakka maybe they are very different from the food for the Hokkien, Hokkien people. So some the taste, the taste buds also different among the different subculture groups. Okay, so this is the diversity diversity that we need to consider for the subculture. All right, then the uh, social classes. Okay, social classes are another factors. So social classes are society relatively permanent or order division whose members share similar values, interests, and behaviors. Okay, measured by a combination of occupation, income, education, wealth, and other variables. So social classes has a blue collar class. Okay, they have a white collar class, or even within the white collar class, maybe some are the teachers groups. Okay, some are the lawyer groups, some are the accountants groups. So they can be can be diversified by their occupation, can be their income groups. Okay, maybe some they are the we call it a golf kaki. They like to play golf, so they go into a group. Okay, the social group that go to play golf together. So it can be so diversified. So this is the variables that we need to take into consideration. Okay, next one. Okay, and groups and social network. Okay, social network. Okay, so membership groups with a direct influence into which a person belongs. Okay, membership groups. Okay, for example, if you want to get more customer from some of the membership group, like have you guys heard about BNI? It's a Business Network International. So it's a group that cater all the professional and the businessmen. Okay, so every week they have once a week meeting, and then they exchange the customer referrals. Okay, they exchange customer referrals. So from that group you can receive customer, and also you can refer other businessmen uh, the customer they desire. So this kind of business group, okay, is considered membership groups. Okay, membership groups. So for example, maybe within the group there's an accountant. Okay, he got the customer to look for property, so he refer the customer to you as a property agent. So so he will give the contact number, okay, to you, and then to follow up the customer. So uh, at the same time, if let's say you have a customer to look for an accountant to assist in the tax advice, or assist in the to do the accounting or bookkeeping, then you might refer the customer to this accountant. So it's based on the referral basis, and to get the to receive and to give the referrals within the business group. So this kind of membership groups, okay, do exist, and then is I think it's quite successful lah. It's quite successful, especially in Malaysia. Most of the time we receive customer or give the customer through word of mouth, or maybe through referrals. Okay, so if you join this kind of group, they are quite straightforward. You not need to talk about charity or other thing. You just talk about your own business. Okay, you as a real estate agent, what the service you offer, you can offer to the group. Okay, to the they call it a chapter lah. Okay, they call the name of the group is a chapter. Okay, chapter Damansara, or maybe chapter Mongiala, or chapter Petaling Jaya, something like that. So if you join one of the group, okay, then you are the only property agent in that group lah. So there won't be any conflict of interest, okay, within the business group. So I will encourage if you guys are still new in the property market, maybe you can consider to join this kind of business group, BNI lah. You can online and check it out. Okay, I've been joining BNI for, I think yeah, it's more than 5 years lah. So it's quite good to to join this kind of group. Is you are if you are new to the market, and you not knowing many people in the uh, in and not knowing many people in this industry, or maybe you want to expand your contact list. Okay, or you want to expand your referral list in the property industry, then I will encourage everyone to join this kind of group, or maybe at least eye opening. You can go and visit them as a visitor first before joining. Okay, so you can have three three times to join as a visitor lah, to observe and to understand what is the group is about. Okay, what is a referral group, how to refer business, so they are quite efficient. Normally they start at 7 a.m. And then finish at 9 a.m. Okay, so before the start of the work of the day. So there's quite a number of quality professional they can join lah, because before they start their business, then they finish the meeting. Okay, the meeting. Okay, this is quite efficient one. So is one of group that I can encourage everyone to have. If you haven't heard about that or you haven't joined before, is kind of eye opening, eye opening for every one of you guys. Okay, if you are interested to expand your referral contact list. Okay, and now one aspirational groups. Okay, aspirational group, the second one. Okay, groups as an individual wishes to belong to. Okay, so maybe it's something like you have a hobby, or maybe you have some inspiration, or you have some common interest, then you join the groups. And references groups. Okay, groups that form a comparisons or reference informing attitudes or behavior. Okay, so uh, maybe a groups that you have a uh, common things, common reference, or common attitudes, or common behavior. Okay, okay. So maybe somebody they love uh, to have maybe they can go gym together, or maybe they can have a sport together, something like that lah. So it's a reference group that you used to belong to and have a common behavior, or maybe they have a pet loving groups, or they both have a they love cats, or they love dogs. Okay, they can share together. So this kind of reference groups can be formed, or maybe some people like to plant something in the house, that they can share the experience together. This kind of reference group. Another one is a characteristic affecting the customer behavior. Another factors, groups, and social networks. Okay, so word of mouth influence and business marketing. Opinion leaders are people within a reference group who exert social influence on others, also called influential or leading adopters. Okay, marketers identify them to use as a brand ambassador. Okay, so so social network. So nowadays you see a lot of social network, right? The YouTuber, the Facebook, they have a live and something like that to introduce some of the goods and products. So this kind of we call it some we call it they are influencer influencer in the social networks. Okay, so maybe we can also have a kind of video or live or something to introduce some of the projects or properties. Okay, and characteristic of affecting consumer behaviors. Okay, so on social networks, online social networks. Okay, so where people socialize and exchange information. Okay, so of course social network they cover a very big large scope, so not only the local people can watch the product you introduce from the social network, but the all over the world, the foreigner also watching. Okay, so it cover a bigger scope of the market. Okay, so it have a bigger influence. Okay, through the social network, especially nowadays uh, because of this COVID-19, and a lot of people stay home. Maybe most time they just watch their phone, and then just watch a Facebook, read the Facebook, and also the YouTube. So social network could carry a very large influence. Okay, if you use this channel to promote the products. Okay, or promote the properties. Now, one of the social factors. Okay, social factors also considered as the factors. Okay, family is the most important consumer buying organization in society. Okay, social rules and the statutes are groups of families, clubs, and organizations that a person belong to that can define rules and social status. Okay, so the social groups, social rules. Okay, so family, social groups. Okay, or any consumer group that you can group them. Okay, So we consider this is a social influence from the groups. Maybe your family members advise you, okay, why not you just buy the property same street as me, okay? So maybe your relative says it's this jaran, so they or this suburb, then they encourage you to buy property near to their house. So there will be the influence lah for sure. So it will affect your buying decision, okay? So because maybe your relative or your family members stay in this suburb, so you also been influenced, okay, unknowingly, actually, consciously or unconsciously, you've been influenced, and then you make a decision to buy the same suburb as well, so it's near to each other, something like that. So so it's kind of uh, have this kind of belonging kind of feeling, when you make the decision buying. Another one is personal factors. Okay, personal factors involve age and the life cycle stage. Okay, so loyal brand stages. Okay, youth younger than 18, getting started 18 to 35. So by age, differentiate by the age. Okay, so the personal factors. So different age group, maybe they have a different kind of behavior lah, different kind of the needs. Okay, requirements, something like that. Okay, so for example, maybe the youth one, maybe they prefer, they need a very good Wi-Fi, or they want the smart home or something like that, very advanced. Okay, in the they have this kind of expectation. But for the old one, maybe they prefer the property that's their perception. Okay, they want to near to the hospital, so if anything happen to them, it's easy for them to look for a doctor or something like that, or maybe they need a facilities is friendly to the elderly people, okay, something like that is in within the suburb, or is very convenient for shopping, something like that. So this kind of personal factors which will actually affect the decision making, okay. So occupation affect the goods and services bought by consumer. Economic situation include the trends in personal income, saving. So another, there is occupation also affect. Okay, maybe somebody want to buy the property near to their workplace. Okay, economic situation including the personal income, saving, and interest rate. Okay, so the economic situation will be also is will take into account lah. And lifestyle, okay, lifestyle is also another personal factor that affect. Okay, so what kind of lifestyle they expected? Okay, they want to okay have a river view, they prefer to have a sea view, or maybe they want to have some amenities friendly to the children. So what is the expectation? Okay, so make sure a consumer AOIs AIO, okay, activities, interests, and opinions. Okay, so capture information of personal patterns of acting and interacting in the environment. Okay, so this is also taken into account. And personality and self-concept. Okay, self-concept. Personality refer to the unique psychology characteristic and lead to consistent and lasting response to the consumer's environment. So a personality or personal characters, okay, actually will affect the decision making as well. So personal factors, or the character could be dominance kind, or autonomic kind, or defensive kind, or adaptability kind, or aggressiveness kind. Okay, so somebody can adapt the environment very fast, but somebody they just can't. They prefer to have an environment they used to be. So this is different kind of characteristic among the different kind of people, and then their characters will affect their decision making. All right. Then the psychological factors, or like motivation, perception, learning, belief, and attitudes. Okay, so there's psychological factors. So how you perceive things, how you be motivated. Like for example, like last time do you have a road show at the shopping center. So we know after you've been serving for many customers, then you understand through your experience will tell you, okay, if the uh, the couple come with a baby, so I tell you the motivation is very high. Why? Because those couples maybe they stay with their in-laws, or maybe stay with the in-law side, so the house is too small. When the newborn baby just come out, maybe the is not so convenient anymore because the room space getting smaller, and then the baby also will mess out the things, and then a lot of noise, so they prefer to move out from the in-law house, and then they want to have their own house. So we realize that once we see a couple with a baby, their motivation is very good. Their motivation to buy a house is extremely high. Okay, so it's very high chance you can close the case as long as they love the property, or as long as they can afford to buy, within their budget, and then is what they're expecting, the location. So the decision, the motivation to make decision to buy is very very high. Okay, so this is based on our experience lah. Okay, so you know how to observe. Again, you can understand their motivation behind why they want to buy the property. Okay, so when you already understand there's a high motivation, then it's time to ask them for a decision. Okay, to make a booking, something like that. All right. So psychological factors are motive. Okay, a motive is a need that is, okay, sufficiently pressing to direct the person to seek satisfaction. Motivation research refer to qualitative research designed to probe consumer hidden subconscious motivations. Okay, so most of the time we ask people to make decision, we won't ask for the money, the booking or reserve, but we ask for the IC, something like that. So once we realize that they have a very good motivation, we ask, could I have your IC? I can help you to do a registration. Okay, this is one of the skill that we normally use lah. So after we fill in the form for them, put in their IC, okay, to register for a new house, okay, booking, and then the last thing we ask is actually the booking fees lah. Because sometimes you buy a house is a big decision, very big decision for a family or for a person to invest in the house. Okay, but you talk about six figure, or maybe even talk about $1 million. So this is something that we take into account. Okay, so to let them to have a ease of mind. Okay, just say register first. Okay, and then we will process the loan for you. So this is the things that we need to understand how people behave. Okay, if you immediately ask them for the booking fee or something, or deposit, sometimes they will be demotivated. Okay, they'll say, oh, actually I just look around, let me go back and consider, something like that. Okay, so but if you say register first, maybe it won't be so precious, or so give them so much pressure to make a decision. So sometimes these psychological factors is really, if you need to understand the psychological factors to create sales. I think it's one of the very key factors you want to generate sales for your to sell the projects or to sell the property. Okay, you need to study more, or maybe you need to understand more about the psychological factors behind. Okay, all right. And another thing that we need to learn about that is Maslow hierarchy of needs. So this one let you to understand the needs of the consumers. Okay, the needs of the consumer as a overall. Okay, so you can see the bottom part. The bottom part is okay, physiological needs. Okay, so this one is the basic needs. Basic needs like hunger. You're hungry, you need food. Thirst, you need a drink. Okay, these are very basic needs. Then we go upper a bit. Okay, safety needs. So we need security protections. Okay, so that's why nowadays a lot of guarded and gated housing estate. Okay, so we give the safety and to satisfy the safety needs, security and protection. Okay, then the go up a bit, social needs. So So you have the sense of belonging, and then love, okay, social needs. So you have a friendship. So if some of the, I think some of the community now in the housing estate, okay, they do have organize some activities like Lantern Festival. They celebrate together. Sometimes Chinese New Year they celebrate together, or some of the Raya Festival they also celebrate together as a certain housing estate. Okay, they have this management community that they organize all these activities to make the neighborhood have the belongingness, okay, the sense of belonging to each other, okay, belonging to the certain taman or certain suburb, okay. So I think this is to meet the social needs. Another one, go upper, then is esteem needs, okay, self-esteem, recognition, status, okay. So this is the needs that people look for: the recognition, status, okay. So you go further up is self-actualization needs, okay, self-development and realization. So it's the highest needs, okay. So they look for the name, okay. They look for the maybe or maybe look for the titles, okay, tato, tatin, self-actualization needs, or some achievement that is extraordinary, okay, to get the people to respect, okay, something like that. So you can see the bottom, the basic need, until the highest one, self-actualization needs, okay. So this is the pyramid of the Maslow hierarchy of needs. That's we understand the different kind of needs of consumers. Another one, characteristic of affecting consumer behavior, psychological factors. So I think just now we also mentioned quite lots of psychological factors. So one is the perception, is the process by which people select, organize, and interpret information to form a meaningful picture of the world. From three: selective attention, selective distortion, okay, distortion, selective retention, okay. So this kind of perception is like something like we have a selective to we have a something like preference, something like preference. You have preference for something. You have preference for color, okay. So your perception, or maybe yellow is good, okay. You prefer yellow, or some people maybe they prefer white color. So they have this preference, okay. So some people maybe have a bad impression about, oh, black color not good, or some people don't like red color. So this kind of a distortion, okay, that may have inside the perception, okay. So whether it's conscious or unconsciously already inside a person, okay, this kind of perception. And let us go further. Selective attention is the tendency of people to screen out most of the information which they are exposed. So they are selective. They have put attention on particular things, okay. They select what they want to get notice of, to give attention of. Selective distortion is the tendency of people interpret information in a way that will support what they already believe, okay. So they'll interpret information in a way that support what they already believe, okay. So they may have a bias about something because they already filter in their mind. They already make up their mind to believe what is uh, this thing will be, okay. Sometimes they already have prejudged what it should be because in their mind already filter interpret the information that way. So selective retention is the tendency to remember good points made about a brand or their favor. So so maybe I just give an example lah. Maybe um, you have a lot of friends, okay, or maybe relatives. They stay at the Taman Sala, or maybe they stay at Bangsa. So all their house is luxury. So then after that, a friend tell you, "Hey, I stay in Bangsa." Then in your mind, you already have this selective intention. Mean, oh, you stay Bangsa, oh, so you are the rich people, because most of your friends and your relatives stay at Bangsa. They stay at the luxury homes or houses. So you have this impression already inside you. Okay, maybe you are not realizing, but in your mind, it already tell you, oh, This guy is very rich, that's why you say bangsa, something like that. So this is the tendency lah, that inside somebody, they already in their mind they have this brand. Okay, bangsa is a high class area. Okay, or maybe Damansara is a high class area, something like that. Okay, so next one. Okay, learning is a change in individual behavior arising from experience and occurs through interplay of drives, stimuli, cues, responses, reinforcements. Okay, so learning. Okay, so through the learning process, we also will change the behavior. Okay, so through the learning also, you will be we will respond to different things in different way. So maybe in the past, maybe you haven't learned, just for example, in the past maybe you haven't learned about share. Okay, so in your impression, the share market maybe is very risky, but after you have learned something about how to lower the risk in investing in the share market, then your behavior change. Okay, your impression change. Okay, your perception about share market is different already, so you're willing to take certain level of risk to invest in the share market, something like that. Okay, so belief is a descriptive thought that a person has about something based on the knowledge, okay, opinion, faith. Okay, belief system. Okay, so when you talk about belief, then maybe a lot of us think about religion. Okay, your religion background. So these kind of things actually will affect the decision making as well. Okay, so some maybe is a Muslim background, some is a Buddhist background, some Christian background. So they different background, they have a different perception, they have a different behavior, the buying behavior as well. Okay, some maybe if let's say if a Muslim, then we will ask, is there a nearby any mosque, or maybe nearby any there's a religion center they can easy for them to access to, something like that, for example. Or maybe they prefer some of the group that they have a same belief to stay in that kind of suburb. Okay, so it's possible also. And come to the attitudes. Okay, next one. Attitudes describe a person, okay, relatively consistent evaluation, feelings, and tendency towards an object or idea. So attitudes. Okay, so the attitudes is also is a kind of psychological factors lah. Okay, so how the attitudes towards the certain design of the house, and how the attitudes towards a certain the the things that's available, okay, for sale. Or so sometimes it will affect the decision making. Okay, so sometimes like some people they are slow. Okay, they prefer have stay outskirt a bit. They don't want to to have a traffic jams, for example. They don't want to have traffic jam so much, so they prefer to stay the outskirt, or they prefer to stay at the outskirt a bit from the city area, city location. But some people, they don't mind to have a traffic jam. They prefer to stay the city, and then their attitudes is like, oh, their workplace actually in the city. They don't need to drive, so they prefer to just walk to the workplace, so without using transport. So it's possible too. So their attitudes to the tendency to buy the city home rather than the outskirt home. Okay, so this is their attitudes towards how they look at the things. Okay, look at the so-called conveniences, okay, for themselves. All right, then the next one, behavior. Okay, types of buying decision behavior. So okay, we just go to the next page. It's more clear. So this is the type of the buying decision behavior. Actually, it's the 4 type. okay, of the buying behavior. So this diagram is clear enough, okay. So you can see the types of the buying behavior. So we start from the top part, okay. So the top one, the horizontal line, you can see high involvement and the low involvement. High involvement means they will take a lot of time to consider, to get the information, to make decision. Okay, so they will take longer time to have more research, okay, before they make a decision. Low involvement maybe means like they will do less research, they will take lesser time, they will less activities to or maybe they will make decision uh, easier, okay. They will make decision easier compared to the high involvement, okay. So this is the horizontal, the top part. Then the left hand side, or the left hand side, okay, the vertical one is a significant difference between brands. That means there are a lot of different brands, okay, for certain products. Then the go for the fewer difference between brands mean that is a lesser brands, lesser choice for the customer, okay, for certain products. Okay, so the first type of behavior, complex buying behavior. So complex buying behavior, you can see that is high involvement and significant difference between brands. So they have they have different kind of brands, okay, and then you need to, they could be very expensive, so they need to take longer time to do research and study, and maybe ask friends, ask a lot of people, then only they make the decision, okay. So it could be a luxury products, or maybe luxury cars, or luxury homes, or something like that, okay. Then the next one, with a high involvement but fewer difference between brands, so fewer choice, okay. So there is also maybe product like expensive, but they have not many choice, okay. For example, maybe for property, like okay, you want the developer look for land bank in the city location, okay, in the city location. So in the city location, they are very congested, and there are not many choice of the land bank available for the developer to choose, okay. Not many land bank, okay, very few, very limited, okay. So if you will take developer to uh, go further and take longer time to study, okay. So but not many choice available in the marketplace, maybe the golden triangle, okay, not many, very limited or land bank available for developer to make a decision. All right, and let's go for the other kind of buying behavior, okay. Variety seeking buying behavior, okay. So involve law involvement, that means they take lesser time to do research and make decision, but there are many different kind of brands, okay. So the product could be cheaper. So for example, biscuit, okay, a lot of variety of brands, but it may not take you too long to make a decision, right? So you have a Nestle brand, or you have other brands, and but the thing is cheaper, so it won't take too long, but even though a lot of variety. And another one, habitual buying behavior. Habitual buying behavior, that means they also uh, take less time to make decision. Maybe it's because it's cheap, okay, it's not expensive, and then but there are not many choices available. So for example, sugar, okay, the things that you often buy, sugar, salt, so or the fluff, sugar, salt, okay. So any one of you will know how many brand in the available in the market, the sugar and salt. I think it's limited lah, but is habit that you will always buy, okay. You will always buy, you always need them, so it's kind of habitual, you just buy it, and without much spending much time to think about whether I want to buy this one or that one, because the thing is cheap and then not many brand available. Okay, it's limited brand, very few brand. Okay, for the sugar and salt. Okay, always use in the kitchen, right? Right. Then the next one, consumer decision making process. Okay, so this is the process of the flow chart. Okay, so for decision making. Okay, so need recognition, you realize what is the need of the customer, and then you do the information search. Okay, so the consumer have a need, and then they will do the information search, and then next one, they will evaluate alternative. They will compare the product A, product B, product C. They will do a comparison, evaluate the alternative. Okay, evaluate the choices, and then after that, purchase decision. Then after they choose the one they like, and then they make a decision to buy. After buy, they have this post purchase evaluation. So after buy, they have a feeling, whether I buy, I already made a decision to buy. Whether this thing I buy, I feel happy about it, or I feel regret. Okay, so this is the post purchase evaluation. Okay, and the need recognition occur when the buyer, okay, recognize a problem and the need trigger. Okay, so internal stimuli, okay, external stimuli. So what is the stimulus that could be internal, okay, trigger them to have realize that there's a need. Okay, for example, internal, okay, they have a newborn baby, so trigger them to have a need. Okay, so they want to move to a bigger house because now you have a newborn babies, you need a bigger house. Then the external stimulus, maybe external stimulus that encourage to make you to have realized there's a need. Okay, for example, maybe you are the house you are renting, then the owner, okay, the owner, okay, ask you to move out. Okay, or maybe the owner say want to increase the rental, so it give you some stimulus from the external pressure that you need to move out already this time. So it trigger you to think that I need to buy a house. Okay, I need to buy a house, something like that. Okay, or maybe the rental is more expensive. Okay, consider more expensive, you pay more. Actually you pay more than the, if you buy a house, the installment is even lesser than the rental. Okay, it could be the possibilities also. So it will have give you the something like you awaken, and then you realize there's a need to buy a house now rather than to pay rental, to buy a house and then to pay installment rather instead of paying rental. Okay, just for example. Then the buyer decision making process continue. Okay, information search, source of information. So you can source the information from personal sources or commercial sources, advertisement, okay, public sources, mass media, and experiential, okay, sources, okay, handling, examining, using the product. Okay, so all these sources you can search, get the information. Okay, get the information you want. Then you go for evaluate the alternatives. Okay, so you'll compare the different brand, different choices. Okay, so you will do a comparison, and after that you will make a buying decision. Okay, purchase decision. Okay, so it's quite straightforward. So this is the step, just make it clear how the uh, the buying decision process. So after you bought already, then this will be a post-purchase decision. Okay, so some people, they buy from a Shopee or the Lazada, you're not happy with it, then so there's a feeling that you are not satisfied. Okay, or the product is have some defect. Okay, then you think like, I want to return it back, and then to ask for the change a new one, or maybe for the refund, something like that, within the warranty period. Okay, so this could be the concept of the post-purchase decision kind of the the ideas. Okay, so there will be a gap between the expectation and the performance. Okay, maybe you bought some product, then you expect something, but the performance is different what you expect. Okay, so and then of course if the gap is bigger from your expectation, then you have a so-called consumer dissatisfaction. Okay, so nowadays why a lot of the food industry, they have this customer hotline, consumer hotline, something like that. So the customer or consumer feedback to them to the hotline. Okay, so they will get the feedback from the customer, so they can in the future they can give a better, they can produce a better products, okay, to meet the customer needs. All right, so this is a post-purchase decision. So always the customer satisfaction is the key to build a profitable relationship with the consumers. Okay, so for sure, customer satisfaction is the key. Okay. And the next one, the buying decision process for new product adoption process is the mental process an individual goes through from first learning about innovation to final regular use. Stages in the process include awareness, interest, evaluation, tries, and adoption. So this is the adoption process. Awareness, okay, you're aware of it, and then you are interest, you have interest, and then you do the evaluation. More or less the same evaluation is compare, and then if you could, then you try, okay, you try out, okay, or testing or something like that, and then you adopt, okay, like you go to shopping center, some people let you to test out the ice cream, okay, before you buy, okay, they have some tester for you to test out in the shopping mall, okay, before you make a decision to purchase. All right. So I think this half section. So then we have this partial question. You can go through it. Actually, then this answer, the guideline for the answer of partial question. Okay. So within this topic. Okay. So we will continue the next half for the next slide. Okay. Thank you.